Hey everybody, today the topic is how do I start over after losing a loved one? And just a little warning, this is going to get a little emotional, so I'm warning you about the topic. So if you need to press that stop button and go do something else, go ahead and do that. I'm Pamela D. Wilson. My website's pameladwilson.com. Please click the share button below. Follow me on YouTube. Share these videos with other people you know who are looking for hope, help, and support. So losing a loved one is a journey in life that really nobody can take for you. And until you experience that, there's absolutely no way you understand what anybody else is going through or has gone through. And the depth at which you grieve really depends on the relationship that you had with that other person, who could be an aging parent, a grandparent, a spouse, a brother, sister, a friend, a coworker, somebody else. Now, reality is people die every minute of the day. But until this person that dies is somebody that you know, that name on the newspaper or television or somewhere else, it's not going to mean a lot to you. And maybe think, oh gosh, so sorry that that person died, or gosh, they lived to a great old age, or oh, terrible accident or whatever. Okay, so I want to start with a personal story that relates to the topic of this video. So about 3 weeks ago, I was going to the gym. You all know that I work out, right? Because I believe in preventative health just because I've been in this industry for 20 years and I see what happens if when health starts to fail, which for all of us it will. So I'm driving to the gym, I turn off the key and my phone rings. And I saw the caller ID and I'm like, oh my God, it's my friend. Then I'm thinking, oh, this may not be a good phone call. So I answered the phone and the first words out of my friend's mouth was, you know, I'm calling about Michael. And this was my friend's husband. And she went on to relay the details about Michael's dying. Now, Michael and his wife were a couple that I met very early when I was in my 20s and I was working at a manufacturer distributor. And through that time, he and his wife had become wonderful friends, almost like a second set of parents, because they were about, 15 years older than I. And he was a great mentor through my work life, pointed out some behaviors and some things that I needed to learn. And after he and his wife retired, they moved away and I kept in touch with them. And if I would travel and be in their neighborhood, I would make sure that I had a couple days so I could go stay at their house and, all of that kind of stuff. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, about 4 years ago, Michael was diagnosed with dementia because he had diabetes and high blood pressure. And his wife knew what I did, and we talked a lot about caregiving, and I sent her my book, and I kind of knew what she was going to go through and helped her kind of access some resources and all of that. So when I got the call that he passed away, I was like, oh my gosh, so sad. And then it made me think about mortality, right? So having family members die is one thing, because that's like, immediate and it's hard hitting. Now, if you guys follow me, you know that I lost my oldest sister. She was 29 years old when I was 17. She died in a car accident. My parents died over 25 years ago now. My mother first and then my father. Then my oldest brother died within a year of my father from leukemia. And then, of course, I'm a professional care manager, right? And so I'm working with older people, all of whom eventually die. So during, from 1999 all the way to today, on average, I would see about 3 to 6 people pass away every year. Some expected because of their health issues. Some, they just didn't wake up the next morning. And then about 5 years ago, one of my really good friends passed away from breast cancer and complications of that. And that was like life-changing. So the question is, when you have all of these losses, your first one is probably the hardest. Second one, they don't get any easier, right? It's just that you gain a different perspective about what life is like. And mine today, because I've been through all this, is pretty practical. None of us are guaranteed to wake up tomorrow. We could all be diagnosed with some traumatic disease at 3 o'clock today and be gone in 2 weeks, right? It's impossible to predict. So regardless of the loss that you experience, aging parent, grandparent, spouse, friend, coworker, whatever, being close to death can give you this sense of like mortality, like, wow, I may not be around tomorrow. And it depends on where you are in life, right? If you're 20 years old, you're thinking, oh, somebody died and that's just the way it is, right? And I'm healthy and I'm not even going to like think about death. Now, if you're in your 50s, 60s, or 70s and you've seen this a lot and all your good friends start to pass away, then reality kind of hits you in the face and you're like, oh my gosh, I may only have limited time left. What am I going to do with my life? And more so, how do we find comfort when we're losing all of these people who are so important in our life? And there's this gap of, wow, I can't go see them, or they're not going to call me today, or I used to go to lunch with them one day a month, and now I got to find a new lunch partner. So here's some ways to find comfort and create some memories so that these people are still with you, right? Examples, and you probably all do this too, but I'll hear a song on the radio and it was a song that my dad sang, right? So that's kind of like my dad talking to me saying, hey, I'm here, I'm here. And another friend, my friend who passed away 5 years ago, she left me this beautiful piece of artwork and it's hanging in my office. And so every time I come and I look at it, I say hello to her and I remember things. And most of us will have little memorabilia from people, maybe something that they gave us or a photo. So if you have loved ones that you need to find comfort about and you want to remember them, here's a few things that you can do. One is find that keepsake so that you can touch it and hold it, whatever it is, look at it, talk to it. Then the other thing is honestly talk to the people that you've lost. I talk to my parents all the time and they've been gone for 25 years. I talk to my sister, to my friend, to actually some of my old clients I talked to because they were so wise. And a lot of times I'm asking them for advice. I'm like, well, what would you do about this? Or how would you see this or whatever? And believe it or not, I do get answers. You will get answers. And it may not be like a direct, here's what you need to do, but it might be a sign that reminds you about something. And I'll give you an example. So the other day, on this YouTube channel, a caregiver asked a question. They're like, hey, where is this course? I'm looking for this course and I can't find it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I put up the other two courses, but I got to get this one finished. So it was kind of a reminder for me that I have this great thing out there that I haven't finished and I need to get it done. Another idea is to write letters to the loved ones that you've lost, and that can kind of help you through the grief process too. It can also help you remember things that you loved about them. But here's a really cool thing. Think about this. Write letters to people in your life today, parents, grandparents, friends, whoever, and tell them how much you appreciate them, or share a memory, or share a story, and mail the letters. Or you could, have somebody hold on to the letters, and then when you die, you could mail them, but by then your friends might have predeceased you, right? So why not tell people today how much you care about them and share those stories before you're gone, so that if they keep the letter and you're gone, they can go back and read the letter and they'll have comfort. And then the other thing is continue to do activities that you did together. And this can be a hard one because you got this gap, right, of this person who's no longer there. But take a step out of yourself and go create and find other friends who share in those things. And so like, y'all know me, I love to hike, I'm very active. I have friends that I hike with. I have friends that I, go on vacation with. My friend who passed away was one of those. And I still remember her every year when I go on vacation. And hiking is a great love of mine. So I always want to find friends, new friends, that want to hike and do things so that, if unfortunately one of these hiking friends passes away, I still have friends I can hike with. And maybe they knew that friend, and then maybe we go hike and we talk about the friend, right? So it's kind of like ways to keep your loved ones in your life, even though they're really physically not there anymore. Another thing, you can celebrate a friend's birthday every year just by doing something. And when things get really tough, think about the advice that they would give to you about something that you might be going through, about a way to think about things. about their experience. So like my friend Michael, who passed away, he used to send me little pamphlets and little books, very intellectual, right? And so we shared that intellectual interest. And he would just send me cool little things that, of course, I would keep that were interesting, and then I would send him cool little things. So we had this kind of back and forth, and I still have some of those things, right? So think of little things that you can do for people that kind of go beyond just, just being with them or picking up the phone, things like that. Like I mail cards, right? It's like mailing cards is like a lost art because you can email and text and all that kind of stuff. Well, I still, believe it or not, will go buy a card or send a card and hand write it and mail it to people. And I'm good about doing that on my friends' birthdays. And so they always know that on their birthday, if they haven't heard from me in a while, they're going to get a card. So this is kind of the way just to preserve relationships and preserve memories. And through all this loss, I do recommend seeing a grief counselor if you find that necessary. When my mom died, it was horrible for me. I was in my 30s. I was young. It was traumatic for me. I went to a grief counselor. It was a really good thing because she helped me sort out a lot of things in my life and to look at my mom's death as, differently, not as like the worst thing that ever happened to me, and find ways to go on. And so death is hard. I mean, we're all going to die, right? But watching our friends die and our family die is difficult. Hopefully this video can help you think about that a little differently and things that you can do today so that those relationships are really good and you have memories when your loved ones pass away, and also so that you can create memories for other people so that when you pass away, they have positive memories of you. I'm Pamela D. Wilson. My website is PamelaDWilson.com. On there are a lot of hope, help, support for caregivers and aging adults. Again, please click the follow button, click the share button below to follow me on my YouTube channel. On my website, you can find my online caregiver course called Caring for Aging Parents, my podcast, The Caring Generation, links to my Facebook caregiver support group called The Caregiving Trap, a lot of articles and helpful information for caregivers and aging adults, all based off of my real life and my professional experience as a care manager and financial power of attorney and court-appointed guardian and conservator trustee of the estate, all of that. Thanks so much for being here. I will see you all again soon in another video.